Once again, back on the Results or Excuses podcast, giving you results over the excuses. Man, it's been a busy week for me for sure. I've been delving into self-development and working on some products that I'm excited to launch at a later date. That's coming soon. So bear with me, Road Nation. But today is all about breaking glass ceilings and slaying goals. All right. So our guest today, she's a podcaster, she's an entrepreneur, she's a author of a book, The Daily Goal Slayers. She is a minister of music, probably, I don't know, but she does it all. A visuals brand specialist. And she does all these things while mentoring others to be mentors and to be goal slayers. Results or Excuses Nation, welcome Charlenia Snider to the row. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Listen, I heard you name out all the things and I'm like, okay, I'm doing something.
Yeah, you definitely doing it. You definitely doing it.
Yes.
I appreciate you accepting the invitation, and you definitely came across my feed, and I know sooner or later I was going to have you on this particular platform, and I just enjoy just being around entrepreneurs myself. And I do consider myself as an entrepreneur, definitely an aspiring entrepreneur, even though I hold a role in a 9-to-5, and that's a particular story within itself.
Yeah.
Until, you branch out into that full space, full time. But you've been busy.
Very much.
Yeah. I'm looking at some of your feed. I mean, you're spending time with the hubby. You got the 4 beautiful creatures in your house, probably taking up most of your time.
Yeah.
And, of course, probably trying to have some self-time for yourself. Talk to me a little bit about, from a mindset standpoint, how is it that you able to stay sane, and still do what I consider, probably you consider, as for still a calling on your life?
Yeah. That's really good. Sometimes I ask myself that question too, because it's hard. It's, you really have to be focused and really wake up every day with intention, because if you don't, I feel like people will get bogged down in the one thing and can't move forward, So like you mentioned, having a husband and children, just that alone, and trying to be a decent mom, that's a whole thing. And it's so funny because I talked about this last weekend. Like, I have severe mom guilt.
Yeah.
I do. Like, it's a thing.
Hey, that's a whole nother episode right there.
It really is, because I want to do the things I want to fulfill my calling.
Yeah.
But then, my kids are looking at me like, Mom, are you going again? And I'm like, oh.
Yeah. I certainly definitely experienced that. The guilt, and sometimes you just try to include them in what you're doing. Yeah. But, other times you have to make it separate to get things done. I want to go a little bit into the mission of, you have a podcast as well.
Let's not talk about that.
Well, at least you started out. In the podcast space. In the space. And I believe, maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. If I remember, I think 2017. Yeah. God, goals, and growth. For anything, that 4th thing, that's a fire name. I like that name. Who gave you that name?
God gave me the name.
God gave me the name. God did it. Okay.
He did it. Yeah. I mean, talking, about the podcast, that's definitely what we wanted to incorporate, because that's the being of the Goal Slayers tribe,
Is that kind of how it got started, maybe with you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
sure.
Networking kind of helps you broaden your audience and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a tool for me, the podcast. It just puts me in a space of people I enjoy talking with.
Absolutely. We wanted to have that space where we just kind of let our hair down and talk about all the things, our
y'all don't just sit around just talking about men.
No.
We don't, and what we do and what we don't do, mostly. Y'all don't be bashing us.
No, absolutely not. No. That's not who we are, for sure.
So what's kind of the mission of the Goal Slayers? In fact, I want to give a shout out to Mary, who's a part of your group.
Oh,
Mary and I went to school together at Charleston Southern.
Oh, I love Mary.
She
yes.
is a sweetheart, and you don't say Mary's name without saying sweetheart. And just a genuine person, just do anything. So
that's for sure.
Shout out to Mary. But the
Mary.
The mission of the Gold Slayers, and what's the gist of why you guys meet?
Yeah. So I would say the beginning of the Gold Slayers tribe was not even to be the Gold Slayers tribe, right? So it was in 2017 when I was pregnant with our fourth child. And I had a wake up moment like, sis, what we doing? Not because we were having another child, but I felt like I was in a space where I was riding the coattail of my husband. I was
that's
just
another episode.
That's a whole nother episode. Yeah. So I felt like I needed to do something. And, I've always had dreams and aspirations and things that I wanted to do for myself, but the first couple of years of marriage, I was just momming so hard,
right?
Right. And it was then I was like, you know what? I need to create a space where I have like-minded women in an area where we can just share, all the things, so we're talking about relationships, we're talking about business and ministry, because that's a part of who I am. And combining all those things to just have a community. So I started just with a Facebook group where I added a whole bunch of women who I thought would enjoy being in the space. And that's what it was. And over the years, we kind of cultivated having the products and having the different services for women who were already in the group. So that's where it started.
Okay.
But it grew to so much more.
Absolutely. I'm sure you got some stories. So it kind of gave you a voice in a sense.
Yes.
So it kind of broke away from Pastor Frank just a little bit, and like you say, that's an episode within itself.
Yeah.
Definitely my home, but it's important. It's important. And obviously he respects you enough to, to support, what you're doing on your endeavors and so forth. So what's kind of the criteria? Is anything, for just being a phenomenal woman or what?
That's it. I mean, honestly, that's it. Of course, we talk a lot about entrepreneurship. So I think most women that may come across our content may assume that it's only for women entrepreneurs, but no.
Oh, it's for men?
No, not for men now.
Okay. But still women, just women. Okay.
Yeah, just women. So you don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't have to already have a business mindset per se, anything like that. If you're a woman with goals, that's it. That's it. Be a part of the community. Okay. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. And you guys normally meet in the friendship, the coffee conversations type deal.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite part of the tribe because
you're coffee drinking.
I am.
Me too. What's your favorite? What do you get?
Oh, I would have to shout out my girl Dana Harris with Coffee Treasures. My favorite right now is her Jamaican Treasures.
Oh, snap! Where's that?
But I'm always a
Jamaican Treasures.
It's a Starbucks snob, but
it's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
She's mobile.
Okay.
Coffee Treasures is mobile, but my favorite coffee from Starbucks is a caramel macchiato with coconut milk, hot. Sometimes ice, but definitely. Okay. But yeah, I'm a coffee drinker. I was talking the other day and I said, I don't even know how I started drinking coffee because honestly, when I drink it now, I don't drink the whole cup, which is weird, but it might be just the smell of just waking up to a pot of coffee and,
I'm like that as well.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I always just get the white chocolate mocha.
Oh, that sounds good. Yeah.
Hot. It's just an experience to me.
It is. It really is.
It's like, man, I don't even need this in the morning, but it don't feel right.
If I don't
grab a cup of coffee, man.
Yeah.
And then they get you with the branding of the cup and all this stuff. So I feel like I'm important, with the Starbucks and everything.
Happy little MacBook. We're important.
Yeah. Which leads me to branding.
Yeah.
That's what you do. That's what you focus on. So take me through some of the stages of, a client wanting to come in and brand themselves.
Yeah.
What are some of the questions that you ask and some of the things that you may do personally or to separate yourself
Mm-hmm.
from any other strategist?
So I believe the essence of branding is really just to take a deep dive into your why. And also, let's talk about who are you wanting to serve? Because most people, when they want to start a business, it sounds good, it looks good, right? Absolutely. And I'm going to make some money on that. But I feel like if you don't have a brand mindset and you don't know who you're actually talking to, it's going to be hard out here in these streets. Like, I know the tribe is meant for women, number one. So I don't set my expectations to think that men are going to want to become a part, because that's just not who we are, and that's not who we market to. I mean, if you feel like pink and gold is your thing, then I mean, we definitely won't turn you away. But when we're having our coffee and conversations, when we're talking about different things, it's going to be women focused. So you probably wouldn't feel comfortable, right? Right. So, you know, branding is your messaging. It's your color palette. It's all the things in who you are, who the business is overall. So those hard conversations when we start out is like, why do you want to start this? Like, what's your why? Why are we going down this path of starting a coffee business? Do you even love coffee? So, you know, of course, as entrepreneurs, we kind of dabble in different things and, you know, creating cash flow. And sometimes those things don't have your heart and purpose. But I believe that everyone that wants to start a brand has to have something of their own. Right?
To make it their own type deal.
Yeah.
So do you believe, so I was having another talk with another entrepreneur, and he basically was sharing the fact that, you know, sometimes your purpose, not necessarily put on the back burner, but sometimes you have to do other things to get to that particular purpose, right?
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes it's to make money.
Absolutely.
All right. And you still can kind of incorporate, you know, your passion, your purpose, but it might not be a financial gain. But, you know, people go through all different paths and everything like that. And I'm be honest with myself, you know, I'm trying to figure out a good bit of stuff. And I had to ask myself some of the questions that you were asking, some of those hard questions, you know, who I'm talking to, who I'm marketing to, you know, what do I want to accomplish? Like, what's the end game type deal? So I revisit those things all the time. And sometimes you think you know, from a niche standpoint, and that point can change.
It can change.
It can change. I was looking at some of the reports, you know, from an audience standpoint. So who's kind of tuning in and listening to the row, and it's actually more women. And I'm like, man, come on, where my dudes at? Where my boys at, man? But I don't know. Maybe my message, I'm not the Steve Harvey or nothing like that, but maybe my message is connecting and resonating with our people, our women more. But you know, it's to be seen. Dealing with a difficult client, you know, as a kingdom brewer.
Oh my!
You know, so it requires a great deal of ethical standard, so to speak, and you're gonna be tested.
Oh my!
And you know, and people looking at you.
Yeah.
You know, preacher's wife, later, you know, she's all this on Facebook and everything like that. So you're gonna be tested. You know, how do you stay grounded? You know, how do you get past those tough times and get yourself back where you need to be?
Goodness, that's a whole.
That's another whole episode.
That's a whole episode.
Man, we can't have all these follow-up episodes.
Listen,
this part 2, part 3.
We can have like seven follow-up episodes. But no, that's really good. It's a really good question, because I've been tested plenty of times. You know, just by people, but what I say is how I manage not to even come up against those type of people or clients for the most part is it's a hard interview process to work with me, right? Because I take you through a pre-assessment before I take you on as a client. And I do that for my own self, not just because of the titles that I hold. It's also because I take on a lot from my clients. Like I'm in the trenches and it may not even be a good thing. And my husband's like, you got to separate yourself.
Right.
But when we're getting into branding and when we're getting into building businesses, I have a heart and passion for it. So if I'm there with you, creating content, if I'm there with you, helping, find clients and find customers for your own business, like I feel like it's part of me. Mm-hmm. So when I am working with a client, I want to make sure that we're on the right page, and sometimes things come up. I know that's life. And, I've had clients in the past, like, I'm not able to pay my invoice until next week. Sis, I understand I got 4 kids. Like things happen, but having that communication and making sure that we're on the same page, those things help. And with past clients that I've had, that may have tested my gangster, I gave them the same grace that I expect in return because,
that's awesome.
We're not perfect, but I expect.
You understand, we all go through different stages, different life journeys and so forth. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I'm trying to do better on, even as a husband, I tend to just walk away, but there's certain ways that you deal with it, and you seem like you have a good demeanor to handle those particular challenges, for sure. Mm-hmm. Habits, just goal slayer daily habits. I want to talk about that a little bit because the consistency of habits, who they are by their habits, the things they do daily, day in, day out, how focused, how locked they're in. Talk to me about some of the habits that you have that help you sustain and maintain, the tribe, home, the non-negotiables.
That's good. So, a few of my habits are being present. I found myself, just kind of always focusing on the future and not really being present in the now, like enjoying the journey because we're going to have tests and trials throughout life, throughout business, all the things, but really kind of embracing where you are right now. Because when we look back a year from now, we'll be like, oh my gosh, I grew, some non-negotiables that I have is definitely with my husband and children. Like they just come first, period. And at a time where I felt like I was feeling overwhelmed with business, which was a good thing. I was having so many clients come in.
Right.
I still couldn't put my husband and children after that. So a practical thing that I did was I didn't open up my calendar after 3:00 p.m. How hard was that? It was hard as all get out because like I said, I'm such a passionate person and I wanted to be there for my client, but I have 4 little ones that are looking at me and mommy's always on Zoom. Mommy's always on the phone, You got to go meet somebody again at Starbucks. Well, can I come? Well, you can't really come this time. So I just had to make that choice. And whether it was, I'm just going to serve 2 clients at a time, which when I can serve 15 clients at a time, I'm like, I'll just do the 2.
So it's a choice.
It's a choice. It's absolutely a choice. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now I respect your transparency there because it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy as far as the journey that you're making and that you've been so successful on doing it here. I want to ask you a recurring question that we do here on the Results or Excuses podcast. And it can be personal or business, but I want you to give me a time to where you were going to call it quits on this whole thing, but you pushed through and it yielded you positive results. And the way you just looked at me, it probably could have been a time or 2 or 3 or 4 that you just like, I'm done. Forget this.
You know what? I just want to throw this whole mic at you because first of all, the time was last week.
Oh, snap. We haven't had a guest that said it was last week.
The time was last week. Today, listen, we had coffee and conversations last week in Colombia. And we were riding. I was riding with my girlfriend, and I said, "Sis, I'm done. I am done. Like, I don't see the results, and I'm tired. And y'all can have it. I mean, y'all can have it." Like, it was literally last week. And once we got to coffee and conversation, of course, it was a total like meltdown. And everybody's like, "I know you." Like, Charlena, have you seen the growth in me? And I'm trying not to even do this, but
yeah,
that was, yeah, I was like, okay, I have to continue because it's not all about me. And that's why the tribe was formed. It wasn't about me. It was about creating a community of women who could serve God, slay goals, and still have a support system there.
Man, that's powerful. I appreciate the transparency. I see the emotions in your eyes right now. Just the fact that we go through tough times. You know, we want things to go a certain way, but it don't always go that particular way. And we've got to get back to our why.
That's it.
You know, why we started this, you know, because if there is no meaning behind the action is meaningless. So I'm glad the tribe kind of wrapped their arms around you, because we all need that support, that good environment to keep you in the mix. And whatever you decide, you know, the women that you've affected, they're affected. They're changed. So they're always going to be different. So definitely thank you for that. I want to finish off by talking about Pastor Frank a little bit, man. I mean,
we got to talk about him.
You know what? You know, the men don't get enough recognition, you know. You don't throw him to the side a little bit, got your own aspirations and dreams, not riding his coattail and nothing like that. But let's bring him on back in the mix just a little bit here, because that's important. The ministry, right? So you incorporate that, and I love the fact, because when I think about your brand, I think about God. I think about seeing your four right?
Yes.
Four creatures, beautiful creatures inside your home. I think about, you know, the husband-wife relationship, and I think about you as a brand altogether. So got to talk about him, and you guys moved into a different spot. I think I did some research.
Yeah.
So prayers goes up that just take off with membership and wherever you guys want it to go from a ministry standpoint. Give me a little bit about where you guys are wanting the ministry, the church, to go, and how that affects your time with your goal slayers, because you're involved in the church, right? I mean, you're doing things. You know, praise and worship.
Child, let's talk about that. So my husband won't let me sing. I can't sing a lick. And I said that. I said, you know, every first lady know how to sing. Why God ain't really, you know, gave me the gift of song.
It's got to be a couple of notes that you can kind of just, you know, and just kind of keep it.
I sing really loud in the background. Yeah. So I'll just stay right there. I'm good.
Your hum game though.
The hum game is on.
It's on?
It's on point. Okay. Yeah.
You good.
I'll just stay right there.
But your message, that's important to you from a growth standpoint. Where is it going as far as ministry wise?
Oh man.
What's from a vision standpoint? I mean, you guys are moving from, where did you move from?
Just around the corner, just a couple stores around the corner to a bigger space.
Well, where did you move from city-wise?
Oh, we were in Monk's Corner. We were in Monk's Corner, South Carolina. Yes.
Okay.
Always in South Carolina.
I don't know why I was thinking you had moved out of state.
No. Right around the corner.
Okay. So you're here and so forth. You know, so I definitely look at that in a part of, you know, your brand and everything like that. From a scaling standpoint, you know, where do you want the tribe to go, whether you want because I did some research. I believe you want a space. You want your own space. I want my own space too.
Man, you just listen.
I'm touching it all.
You all up in it. Like I literally had a conversation with God this morning about the space because one thing about me, like I feel so, I want the thing to happen. And sometimes I don't share the vision enough because it's so much a part of me. And I feel like it has to happen. So anyway, I was having a conversation with God this morning because I was thinking about the space. I want a space, and this space is going to be so unique. It's going to incorporate all the things that we need as women entrepreneurs. I'll let you come to.
Okay.
But the space is going to have a podcast room. It's going to have a studio where we can take brand photos. It's going to have 2 rooms on top, maybe the 3rd floor, like an Airbnb style. It's going to have a kitchen. We're going to have a coffee space. It's going to include an event space. It's going to have all the things that we need as entrepreneurs.
Hey, we might be cohabitating, the Gold Slayers and the Road Nation from the standpoint. So don't be surprised.
I'm just saying, because maybe we work all night, right? Because that's what we do as entrepreneurs. And we're like, I just need to stay over. So I'm going to go up to the 3rd floor and stay in the Airbnb section.
Get that big screen, get that FaceTime with the 4 ones.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It's going to have all those things.
Prayers up for you on that, for sure. Yeah. That's coming sooner rather than later, God willing, for sure.
It's coming.
Charlenia, Results or Excuses podcast, it has been a blessing to have her on here. I'm going to let her get back to her family and all the things. I don't know if you're going to the fair?
Yes, we're going to go to the fair because that's family time, right?
That's family time. That's definitely part of that and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you guys to tune in to the next episode as we give results, and don't make no excuses about missing the next episode. Charlenia Snider here. I appreciate you. It's been a pleasure to have you on the road.
Thank you.